Hello, my name is Nick. I work as a software engineer for 25 years. Today I would like to talk about Liskov substitution principle from solid in depth. A subtype does not automatically become substitutable for its supertype. To be substitutable, the subtype must behave like the supertype. The behavior of an object is a contract that the client relies on. This behavior is defined by public methods, any constraints on their input parameters, and any state changes or side effects caused by method execution. Inheritance in Java requires that the fields and methods of a type are accessible in its subtype. However, behavioral inheritance means not only that the subtype provides all methods and fields of the parent, but also that it adheres to the behavioral specification of the supertype. This ensures that any assumptions made by clients about the behavior of the supertype are satisfied by the subtype. This is the additional constraint that the Liskov substitution principle (LSP) places on object-oriented design. Let's now reorganize our banking application to resolve the issues we encountered earlier. In our example, fixed-term deposit account was not a behavioral subtype of account. The design of account incorrectly assumed that all its subtypes allow withdrawals. As a result, all subtypes of account, including fixed-term deposit account, which does not support withdrawals, inherited the withdraw method. While we could work around this by extending the account contract, there are alternative solutions. Since not all account types support withdrawals, we moved the withdraw method from the account class into a new abstract subclass called withdrawable account. Both current account and savings account allow withdrawals, so they are now subclasses of withdrawable account. This means banking app withdrawal service can now rely on receiving the correct account type that supports the withdrawal operation. Signature rule, method parameter types. This rule states that the parameter types of an overridden method in a subtype must be identical to or more general than those in the supertypes method. Java's method overriding rules enforce this by requiring an exact match of argument types between the overridden method and its supertype method. Signature rule, return types. The return type of an overridden method in a subtype may be more specific than that of the supertype method. This is known as covariant return types. Covariance allows a subtype to be returned where a supertype is expected. Java supports covariant return types. Signature rule, exceptions. A method in a subtype may throw fewer or more specific, narrower exceptions than the method in the supertype. It must not throw new or broader checked exceptions. This makes sense because when the client uses a subtype, it can handle fewer exceptions than the supertype method declares. However, if the subtype method throws new or broader exceptions, it may break the client code. Java already enforces this rule for checked exceptions during method overriding. However, in Java, overridden methods may throw any runtime exception regardless of what the original method declares. Invariant rule, class invariance. A class invariant is a statement about the object's properties that must always be true for all valid object states. The invariant rule states that all methods in a subtype, both inherited and new, must maintain or strengthen the class invariance of the supertype. History rule, history constraints. The history constraint says that methods in a subclass, inherited or new, should not allow state changes that would not be permitted by the base class. Method rule, preconditions. A precondition is a condition that must be true before a method executes. A subtype may weaken, but not strengthen the precondition of the method it overrides. When a subtype weakens the precondition, it relaxes the constraints imposed by the supertype's method. Method rule, postconditions. A postcondition is a condition that must be true after the method has executed. A subtype may strengthen but not weaken the postcondition of the method it overrides. Subtype throws an exception for unsupported behavior. We saw an example of this earlier in our banking application. Before refactoring, the account class had a withdraw method that wasn't needed in the fixed-term deposit account subclass. Fixed-term deposit account worked around this by throwing an unsupported operation exception in the method. However, this was just a hack to hide a design flaw in the inheritance hierarchy. Subtype does not implement behavior it cannot support. This is a variation of the above code smell. The subtype cannot perform the behavior, so it overrides the method with a no-op implementation. It does nothing. This is also problematic. The client is aware of subtypes. If the client code needs to use instance of or perform typecasting to a subtype, it likely violates both the open-closed principle and the Liskov substitution principle. Subtype method always returns the same value. This is a much subtler violation than others and is harder to detect. A method that always returns a constant value, regardless of context, may indicate that the subtype does not truly fulfill the behavioral contract of the supertype.